Welcome to a special edition of the Panther-Lair show. We do this every now and then on Fridays. We have a little Friday conversation. Get someone of Pitt interest, player, coach, analyst, whoever it is, might have something that I think you might find interesting to say about Pitt. Last week we had Dior Johnson, the Pitt freshman guard on the basketball team, which I thought was really interesting and just really good on a lot of levels. It was a really interesting conversation with Dior Johnson. Hopefully you got a chance to check that out right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. If you're sitting there and you're like, I missed it. You had Dior Johnson? I had no idea. I didn't even see that interview. Bro, click the subscribe button. Click subscribe and turn on the notifications. You'll get an alert right on your phone so that you always know every time we post a new video. Look, we post videos almost every day. Monday through Friday, we post a new episode of The Morning Pit every morning. All right. And then, of course, you also get notifications when we go live on Wednesday night for the live Panther-Lair show every Wednesday at 8:30. And then also when we go live after the game for the Panther-Lair post game, which we're going to do on Saturday after the Western Michigan game. I don't know an exact time yet because we don't know when the game will end. But if you click subscribe, it's right down there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. You click subscribe and turn on the notifications, you'll get alerts. So you'll know when we post a new video or when we go live for one of our live streams. And so you definitely won't miss the next time we have an interview like we did with Dior Johnson, and you won't miss an interview like the one we have today. And I'm really excited to welcome in today's guest. It's Pitt defensive tackle Calijah Kancey. And, Calijah Kancey was in, if you roll back the clock before he was, all ACC player, preseason All-American, and all these things and accomplishments that, accolades that he garnered for his performance last season. He committed to Pitt back in the class of 2019, the recruiting class of 2019. And you might not remember this. It was the summer of 2018. That's a long time ago. But way back then was the first year that recruits could take official visits in the month of June. Official visits were always limited to the fall and the winter. But that year, the 2018, for the recruiting class of 2019, the NCAA changed the rules. And recruits could take official visits in the month of June. And I bring this up because the first big official visit weekend, and Pitt had a ton of guys here on official visits, and they got a ton of commitments out of it. It was the Father's Day massacre. It was Father's Day weekend, and all these guys committed on Sunday, and all of us who cover recruiting had our Father's Day pretty much all wrapped up covering all these commitments. And the reason I remember it so distinctly, or at least what I remember most about Calijah Kancey, is he was on that official visit weekend, is he was the one who really got it started. He committed on Saturday night. Everybody else committed on Sunday. Davis Bevel and a bunch of guys out of that weekend all ended up committing. But Calijah Kancey committed on Saturday night. And so he was really the first one. He was the one that really got the ball rolling on the commitment rush that summer. And he's been an intriguing prospect ever since. He was an intriguing recruit at the time. As an undersized defensive tackle, a priority target for Charlie Partridge. And obviously, it's worked out pretty well. And he's, I think still looking for like a big game production-wise this season. I don't think we're going to have to wait long to see it. He's going to end up putting up numbers, I think, similar to what he did last year and end up being one of the most productive defensive tackles in the ACC. But it's not just about football with Calijah Kancey. And as you're going to hear from him, he's involved in a lot of things, and there are a lot of things that are important to him. And so it was really fun to talk to him, not just about football and not just about Charlie Partridge and not just about the defensive line's kickball game, and all those things are interesting to talk about, but also some of the other things he's doing off the field, how he's using NIL agreements, not just to help himself, and he's got to deal with, for a pickup truck or something like that, but he's doing a whole lot to help out in the community with him and his teammates, following the example, I think, set last year by guys like Kenny Pickett and Johnny Patrician and Cal Adamitis. And I think Calijah Kancey really embraces that. I think he really looks forward to that. And I think he's excited about some of the things he's doing. So I want you to hear from him directly about how he's using NIL to help the community, what he's doing on the field, about his relationship with Charlie Partridge, and a whole lot of topics, actually. We talked for quite a while. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. It's Pitt defensive tackle Calijah Kancey. And Calijah, really appreciate you joining us. I know you guys' schedules are crazy this time of year, all year round. You student athletes put in a lot of hours, but I want to catch up with you about a few things. And before we got on the call here, I was kind of looking around at your Twitter and your social media, and you've done some really interesting things. I think they're NIL related, but aside from sponsorships and stuff, I saw that you were working at the Monroeville Library Fun Fest. You were working with Tickets for Kids, and then the Ronald McDonald House, which they all sound kind of interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about those events and kind of what those experiences were like?
I want to say, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to Alliance 412 for hooking me up and setting me up with the inner city of Pittsburgh and just like being able to be a positive impact on the community. The Ronald McDonald House, I got a chance to give back to deserving families. Also, the Monroeville Library, had a great time there. A lot of cool people, met a lot of great people. Fun times. Also with I'm sorry,
Tickets for
the
Kids.
Tickets for Kids. I got a chance to give a less fortunate, or I wouldn't say less fortunate, but like a kid that's not able to get tickets for the game. So I thought that was a great thing I wanted to be a part of.
Nice. Is that, did you envision that kind of a role when you came to college? You might be able to sort of participate in the community like that?
I knew I wanted to participate in the community. I just didn't know how to and like where. But I also I wanted to do that for like back at home, but by me being a college, so I had to find a way to do it here in Pittsburgh.
Right. You mentioned Alliance 412. How do they help you kind of set those things up?
I think they do a great job. Like they asked me like what I'm interested in, or like what I'm looking forward to, like with off the field things, and I feel like they helped me find a way to make an impact on the community, because that's what I'm all about. That's what I wanted to do, and I feel like they helped me. They helped lead me in the right direction.
Right. It's funny. Like, I feel like when NIL all started, everybody thought it would just be like sponsorships and car deals and
Yeah,
cash. But I feel like a lot of you guys,
yeah,
right? Kenny did stuff like that. Johnny Patrician and Cal Adamitis, right? Did more than just get sponsorship deals, right?
yeah. A lot of people think it's all about receiving, but you got to give to receive. And I'm glad to be a part of Alliance 412 and the things that we're doing here in the city of Pittsburgh.
I know obviously it's the season right now, so you don't have a lot of free time. Do you have any other events like that coming up, or is that kind of off the table for now until the off season?
I got a event coming up. I think late September with Monroeville Library again, but it's I think it's a chili, like we're giving away chili or something like that. I have to, yeah, I have to go back and look at it. I'm sorry, but
No, that's okay.
yeah, later on in September.
Gotcha. Now it's funny, as I was kind of scrolling through your social media, I was looking at your Twitter just to see what events you had been a part of. I got to that point in July where you retweeted Coach Partridge from the defensive line kickball game. And this is something I've been meaning to ask either you guys or Coach Partridge about, but tell me about this kickball. So it happens every year, right? At his house, there's a kickball game for the
Yeah,
D line in July.
yeah. So it's every year during camp. We just we all wait. I'm sorry, not during camp. Right before camp. So
Mhm.
right after summer workouts and right before we go into fall camp, we all like go to Coach Partridge's house and just have a cookout, kickball, and just fun and games and just chill.
Now,
And
mhm.
and then we make two teams and we compete in kickball.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask. Is it like ends versus tackles, or how do you guys split them up?
Yeah, we at first we switch it up. We'll go ends versus tackles, or we'll have two captains on each team, but most likely it's always ends versus tackles.
Oh wow! Now, I mean, I think most people would probably assume the ends have a speed advantage. Is that accurate? Are those guys a little faster than the tackles? Maybe not you
Uh,
specifically, but the whole group. You know,
I think the tackles was a little faster this year.
faster than the ends.
Yeah.
So if I were to go ask like Haba or John Morgan or one of those guys, would they agree with you that the tackles were faster than the ends this year?
I'm only telling the truth, man.
So who won the game this year?
Yeah, the tackles won by a long shot.
With the speed, or you guys just kicked the ball further? What was it?
I think it was more of a teamwork. We worked together.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Now you got to Pitt in 2019, so this would be, I guess, your fourth kickball game. Do you know the record overall? Like, have the tackles, are they 4-0 in those 4 years, or 2-2? What is it?
I can't even tell you. I know we won by a lot this year.
Coach Partridge. I mean, Coach Partridge was your recruiting coach, right? You're a guy out of Miami. That's kind of his area to recruit. Obviously, he's your position coach too. What do you remember about your interactions with him as a recruiter, and how is it now working with him, every day as your position coach?
I think Coach Partridge was a very honest coach in recruiting, and now he didn't tell you like anything you wanted to hear. He always kept it real, and I think he always want to push you to be the best, and that's like on the field, off the field, and that's what I really appreciate him for.
Do you remember, interacting with other coaches when you were getting recruited, and like then you would kind of compare it to Coach Partridge? I mean, what sort of stood out to him about him as compared to, I mean, because you had a lot of offers coming out of high school. So what was it about him? Because he seems like he's a really good recruiter. He's got this reputation. He lands a lot of guys. I mean, what was it about him that stood out?
Honestly, I can't even remember a conversation with any other coaches, but with Coach Partridge, I still remember he came into my locker room, my high school locker room, and he was like, "Oh man, I don't like your film. I love your film." I'm like, because when he said that, I'm like, wait, hold on, like they don't like my film, and then like I love your film. I'm like, oh, all right. And then that day on, he stayed in contact. It's like he was at my school every week. Like it was crazy. Like the love that he had for like showed me. It was crazy, and that's what like where I wanted to be, like somewhere where somebody wanted me, and not like, and by me, I mean I had a couple of offers and stuff like that, but like the communication wasn't as how it was with Coach Partridge.
Right. Now it's funny, you came on your official visit. It was Father's Day weekend. I still remember this because I think that was the first year that guys could take official visits in June. And like 12 of you guys committed. It was absurd. I think you started it off on Saturday night, and then all of a sudden all these guys committed the next day. It's guys that are still on the team, like DeAndre Jules and Brandon Hill and Vincent Davis and Jason Collier and Daniel Carter, and a couple of guys who have transferred, like Davis Bevel and Bryson Elms. Like it was ridiculous. There were so many commitments, but like I said, 5 other guys are still on the team. Are you still? Are they some of your oldest friends at Pitt? I mean, guys like Vincent Davis and Daniel Carter, other Florida guys, Brandon Hill from Central Florida area. I mean, you still like, do you have bonds that go back to that weekend with those guys?
Yeah, we I feel like everybody that was on that visit, and to this day, like even if they transferred or not, I think we'll always have a bond. That's just something we have here at Pitt, where like we were more of a brotherhood. So I think I'll always have a bond with those guys.
When recruits come on their visits now and you're around those guys, or you host, I mean, is that something you try and convey, that sort of brotherhood feeling in among the team?
For real, I just treat them. I mean, we treat them as if they're on the team already, and they just somehow understand like where we're coming from, and the love that we have here, and how it is, and not like trying to show them it's more than what we are, and or anything else like that. We just treat them as if they're on the team already. We bring everybody in with open arms.
Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, you were one of the first guys to commit in that class of 2019. The last guy to commit, and I'm curious, you're down in Florida, you're a long way away from Pittsburgh. I wonder if you even noticed that in like mid-January, this guy named Servassier committed to Pitt. Do you remember, like, I mean, because we were all like, who is this? Servassier? Who is this guy? Like, did you even notice when he committed, or was it, did you even meet him or ever talk to him? Or was it until you got to campus?
We we all had a group chat on Twitter where we all like communicate like all the recruits that were committed and stuff. And he kind of committed later than us, and he early enrolled, so we didn't like we wasn't like as close because he was like almost like the older guy already because he was early enrolled, and then everybody else came in the summer, so we was more like close. And then like as we trained over the summer, that's when we all got close together, and then we was all brothers.
Gotcha. Going into last season, I mean, it was really obviously a breakout year for you. It was a huge year for you. Last season, what was that change like from you going into the season, maybe not a lot of people know who you are or talking about you. And then by the end of the year, certainly within the ACC, you're kind of a household name for your production, you're all conference player. What was it like going from, one end of the spectrum to the other last year?
I just think it's you gotta be humble. And you gotta be, I'll say you gotta know how to overcome adversity. I didn't like start off with high school. You come in from high school, you're the guy, and then you get to college, everybody's the guy. So I had to adjust. I had to learn the playbook. I had to stay humble. I had to stay hungry. I had to work, and I think that all like paid off as the years start to develop. And I think everybody's success is on a different level. God, I feel like God has a different timing for everyone, and it just wasn't my time right then and there, and I had to learn that. So I would say you just got to be humble.
Mm-hmm. What's the kind of chemistry across the line right now? Particularly with some of like the older guys like Deslin and John and Haba, all the other D tackles. They're all like a year older than you. I mean, you guys have a lot of veterans there. You played a lot of snaps together. How is that chemistry with those guys?
It's fun, man. It's fun when we could look at each other on the field and don't say a word, but we know what we're talking about. Like it's so fun. I think we're like our chemistry is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Through two games, how do you feel like the D line has performed so far this season?
I think we're performing good as of right now. A lot of work to do. There's always room for improvement. But yeah, definitely, I feel like we're doing good.
Pat Narduzzi mentioned that he thinks Hendon Hooker is about 15 pounds heavier than he was a year ago, and that he was tough to get down. And what kind of challenges a guy like that, who's as big as he is and can kind of run? Because it seemed like you guys ended up with 3 sacks. It looked like you had a chance at about 6 or 7 or so. How tough is it to play against a quarterback like that?
Guys like that, man, you just gotta shoot your shot, take great angles, and you gotta bring them down, man. Me myself, I missed the big sack, and a lot of other guys did. We left a lot of plays on the field as a defense, and I feel like we just got to get better from that. We got to learn from that.
What do you think is tougher, being on the losing end in a blowout where it's just you're not even close, or a game like Saturday where you lose by a touchdown in overtime? You feel like you had, like you said, a lot of missed opportunities. Which one do you think is tougher? You haven't been part of too many blowout losses, but which one do you think is tougher between those two?
I think a blowout is tougher because it's embarrassing, but also like knowing like that you're supposed to win and still like not like come out with the W, that's hard as well. I mean, anytime it's a loss is hard. And that's what we as a team, we don't want to come in on Sunday thinking about that, or we don't want a sad Sunday because of a loss on Saturday.
Right. Gotcha. And then as far as the West Virginia game goes, you're from Miami. You have no history with the backyard brawl. You don't know anything about it. How quick did you kind of get into the intensity of it though, when you ran out of the tunnel that Thursday night, 70,000 people there? I mean, were you able to pick up on the intensity pretty quick in that one?
Yeah, it took a little minute to pick it up. I didn't understand it, but like as the game was going on, like I just felt like I started to feel like the intensity of the game and the rivalry and the history of it, and how hard those guys was playing, and like it just started to become more real to me. So I think it started like during the game, literally. Like,
Mhm. All right. Well, you guys, you're sitting at 1-1, 2 games down. You have 10 games left to play. Do you guys still feel like all those goals are still ahead of you? You still feel pretty good about, what this season can be and where you guys can go here this year?
yeah, I feel very confident in our team. We got a great team. For us to like we had a bad game and still ended up only losing by a touchdown in overtime versus a ranked and a very like high powered offense. So I feel like we're in a great position. We're gonna do some great things this year.
Thanks so much to Calijah Kancey for joining us here on the Panther-Lair show. It was, I thought, really interesting to talk to him, and he's he's one of those guys. And this is often the case with linemen. I mean, you just don't hear a lot from them. Even really productive linemen like Calijah Kancey, you just don't hear a lot from them. They don't get interviewed very much, and they don't say a lot when they get interviewed. And so sitting down with him for about 15 minutes there, I think you got a lot of insight into who Calijah Kancey is and the impact he's making on the community and how much it means to him. It's not just that he's doing these things, but it's that it's really important to him. It's not, I don't think there's someone sitting there saying, hey, Calijah, look, you need to do these things to help the community. You need to do this. You need to do that. That's going to help build your brand. I mean, I'm sure there are suggestions being made to him, but I think it's the initiative on his part to go out and get involved like that with the Ronald McDonald House or the free ticket program or the Monroeville Library, whatever it is, and yet he has to find those opportunities. Someone has to find those opportunities for him, but he's taking the initiative to go out and do them. He wants to do them, and it's important to him. And I think it's important to his teammates as well. And I think, like Calijah and I talked about, I mean, that's that other side of NIL. As we talk about pay for play and guys getting trucks and cash and recruiting and all these things, which are absolutely factors that we have to consider. And it's part of it, whether you want to talk about recruiting efforts or a transfer situation like Jordan Addison, whatever it is, that's a big part of NIL, but it's not the whole story. There's a lot of other things that are happening there. And I thought, I think it was interesting to hear from someone like Calijah, who's really kind of in it and using it for good, and using it for the best that he can. So thanks so much to Calijah for joining us. It was a lot of fun talking to him. I think he's gonna have some big games coming up, and I think he's played pretty well so far. I think overall there's sort of a feeling that Pitt's defensive line hasn't made the impact that it was expected to, but I think he's played pretty well so far. I think he's going to have a few of those games where he has 2 or 3 sacks or something like that. If not in these final 2 non-conference games, and there's a chance that it could be in these final 2 non-conference games, I think he'll put up some numbers in ACC play as well. So thanks to Calijah for joining us here on the Panther-Lair show. A little conversation for you to enjoy on the Friday, the day before a game, as you're just trying to count down the hours and get to the weekend. Remember to subscribe to youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. That's our YouTube channel where every morning, Monday through Friday, we post a new episode of The Morning Pit. It's where we also host our live show every Wednesday night at 8:30. It's like a Pit talk show. You post in the comments, post your, in the chat section, you post your comments and your questions. I read those comments and read those questions, and we interact and go back and forth. It's a great conversation. For about an hour, just about Pitt sports on a Wednesday night. And then after the game, we're going to do this on Saturday after the game. We'll do it after every game, home or away. We'll go live for the Panther-Lair post game. And some of those, will start right after the game. Usually road games will start pretty soon after the game ends. Home games will start a little bit later. But if you want to make sure that when we're starting, because we never know an exact start time, like this Western Michigan game, I'm thinking somewhere around 11:15 or so we'll get going, depending on how long that game goes. But you never know when a game is actually going to end. So subscribe to youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Turn on notifications, and you'll get an alert sent to your phone so hey, they're going live. Tune in, join the conversation. And then the umbrella over all of it is Panther-Lair.com. Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. It's the most comprehensive source of Pitt sports news on the internet. Football, basketball, recruiting, you find it all at Panther-Lair.com, and message boards where you can have these conversations all day, every day. You watch an interview with Calijah Kancey. You watch an interview with Dior Johnson. You watch a Morning Pitt where we're talking about the biggest issues facing the Panthers as they head to Western Michigan. You watch all those videos, and then you go on the message boards and talk about it. Hey, what did you guys think about Calijah saying this? Hey, Chris said that, this about the quarterback situation. Let's talk about that. That's where all the best online Pitt conversation is happening. The message boards, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. So like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out Panther-Lair.com. We got more Pitt coverage than you can shake a stick at, and it's what you want. If you're a Pitt fan, it's what you want. You want to stay tuned to the YouTube channel. You want to stay tuned to the website. So thanks for checking out this conversation with Calijah Kancey. Hope you had a great week. Hope you have a great end of the week, heading into the weekend, and we will talk to you Saturday night after the Western Michigan game right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.